It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show.
Welcome to the Dep Lewis Show, episode 97. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Sunday, October 6th, 2024, a great day for a podcast about video games and more. And that is exactly what I am here to do. So welcome to the show. Hope you're doing great out there in the world, wherever you are, whatever you are doing. And thank you for being here. Thank you for joining the show to talk about some video games and more. And the first order of business is to ask you to follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere if you haven't done so already, or, tell a friend or recommend it, or, make a friend follow and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. Get a little aggressive out here. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. So, if it's available anywhere, you can find one. I think you should subscribe and listen. So find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. So those are some great providers of podcasts. And you can catch the Dep Lewis Show on all of them. If you'd like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/DepLewisShow is available. If you'd like to subscribe monthly, so go check that out over there. I don't know what I'm going to do with the Patreon. I definitely want to plan to grow content over the years, but I don't know exactly what to do on Patreon. I'm just trying to get the main people to listen to the show is the main goal. So, but patreon.com/DepLewisShow is a way to support if you would like to. And then also Venmo at DepLewisShow. It's available any day, anytime, for any amount if you'd like to support this show and support my journey to podcast greatness. So that is the plan here. So thank you very much for being out there and tuning in. So for today's show, as always, we're going to have three sections. The first section will be what video games I've been playing since I've last talked to you. So I don't have a ton of video games I played last week, but I do have one game that I'm really enjoying I'm going to tell you about. And the middle section of the show is definitely the most important. It's where you're going to get all the video game news, releases, happenings, rumors, speculation, everything you need to know about the video game world in summary. I think that's how you say it. In a concise section where you can just listen and get all the information that you're going to need and then move on about your week with all the video game stuff you need to know. So that is the middle section of the show. And then the third section gives you a break from me talking about video games, and I can talk about anything I want to outside the video game world. So I usually get into the wide world of sports and tell you what's going on with some of my favorite teams, and that is what I'm going to do today. And my teams I got some sad stuff going on, so that's what we're going to talk about, my teams, at the end of the show. So stick around if you want to go on that emotional roller coaster. But this is a video game show, so that's the main thing we're going to talk about. And let's get into what I've been playing. So I mentioned I haven't played a ton of games in the past week. I've played one main game, though, that's been the star of the week, and that's been The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. And I have been enjoying this game. As everyone knows who listens to this podcast, or if this is your first time, I've played a lot of Zelda games and never completed one. I get trolled all across the board about not completing a game, and I am really going to try to do so with The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. So that is my current target for completing a Zelda game, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying playing as Zelda. I'm enjoying walking around the world feeling like a sorcerer, where I'm able to summon things and have them fight for me and interact with the world like a mage. It's a cool take on the world, and the open world itself is really nice. It's very large. You have the ability to ride a horse across it, so I've finally got a horse. I had to go locate the missing horse, and I had to create a bed structure to get him across so he can run across this gap. And then we got back to the farm, and the guy told me I could use a horse if I'd like to. So he gives you the choice of, hey, just go sit on a horse. And the first one I chose was some horse that is, earmarked or whatever, or taken or reserved for someone else. So I must have really good taste in horses, but there were other horses looked cool too, so I picked one of those, and I've been riding around the world, and it's been a fun way to traverse the world. It does get a little framey when you're riding the horse. I think that's my only gripe with this game. There's a little bit of the performance issue stuff in the open world, but otherwise this game looks really great. I like the top-down style, I think. I think that's a case for me trying to beat a Zelda game. Am I going to beat a 3D, or is it going to be a top-down game? And I think maybe top-down's the shorter ones, but I've just never completed any of them, so we'll see. But I've been having fun with this. I'm really enjoying the echoes. I think my favorite one so far, I made a list, is the Ignazol. So that's the little fireball. You can use it to throw it at people, which is helpful. You can just summon it, and people can run into it and they can catch on fire, and that's helpful. If you have a bird swooping over your head, you're holding it over your head, and the bird will swoop and hit it and catch on fire, so that's helpful too. So I think that's one of my most used echoes, and I use it kind of like a bomb a little bit. The rock, that was kind of early on using the rock, but it's still helpful. You sometimes find that if you throw the rock at somebody, it doesn't actually hurt them. The bed is definitely one of the best things for traversing the landscape and getting across places. So building bed bridges is a very useful mechanic in this game with the echoes. The trampoline, I find myself using that quite often as a quick way to get up a ledge. The wolf is a helpful bodyguard or security for me when I'm walking around the world. He's very aggressive. He does take three whatever they're called, echo things from tree. I think tree's the name. So it takes, you can't summon two of them, but you can summon one and then start throwing your Ignazol bombs at the enemies, and that's pretty helpful. And then the sword moblins, I kind of think it's either the sword moblins, the bed, or the Ignazols are my top echoes right now. And the sword moblins are really great. You can summon two of them at the same time, and they just fight for you. It's like having security guards, and they can handle most of the stuff. And you can also just keep summoning them back out really quickly, which is nice too, and they're very useful. So those are my favorite echoes so far. I don't know if those will change over time. I think it's cool. There's so many different ones in the game, and I've heard different people. I think the bed's pretty unanimous that people are liking that, but as far as like attacking stuff, I haven't really heard a general consensus across podcasts or videos that I listen to. Everybody's kind of using different stuff, and it seems like you can tackle that a bunch of different ways. So that's pretty interesting. Riding the horse is fun. I've been getting into the smoothie game. This is how I'm trying to make some money, and I think this is the way I'm going to be able to make some money in this game. So in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, I do enjoy the hustle of cooking and selling it and trying to get my rupees up and make some money so I can buy some cool armor and clothes and things like that, and never run out of arrows. So I've been trying to get into the smoothie game. You don't have as much control over what you're doing with the cooking, which isn't ideal, but I think the move here is to brew some smoothies or give some ingredients for some smoothies and then sell the smoothie back to them if you don't plan on using it. So I've been getting smoothies where it heals 10 plus hearts, and I only have 4 or 5 hearts right now at the moment. I think 4 or 5, maybe 5, but I don't have any use for healing up 15 plus hearts at a time. So I've been selling those and trying to make some money, and that's been really working. So I don't know how regenerative the items are. Like, I guess they are as bountiful. I got some weird words going on as the Tears of the Kingdom game, but sometimes you open a chest and get some ingredients, but hopefully they're pretty abundant across the world, because I want to kind of farm the smoothies so I can make some money. But there hasn't really been too much I've noticed that I want to buy. I think there's some sandals in the desert that I want to buy that can help you with something. So I think I'm pretty close to being able to afford those. So maybe that'll be the first thing I go buy. But I haven't seen any cool like outfits or armor. I really do like the way Zelda looks with her hood. I like how people keep confusing her for Link. And there wasn't even a person. There was, I wrote the side missions are cool. And there was a guy who's on top of a rock. He was surrounded by people attacking him. He's screaming for help from Link. And I come up and he's like, "Hey, you're not Link, but thank you very much." And I just think all the side mission stuff's been really fun. There's been a lot of it to do around the world. You are walking into it, and I've been having fun exploring around. So it's not something, I'm going to quit saying that, because it is something I'm starting to like. I like exploring around these worlds and just poking around and seeing what you can do. And I think that is, half the fun around with some of these games. So what else have I written about this? I love in the Zelda games how you can save anywhere. I think that's a huge plus, especially for me. I like to play for a little bit, save, move along, and continue right back to where I was. So, and you can also do some save farming, which is helpful too. So this game has been very, very fun. I'm enjoying everything about it. My only gripe is a little bit of the performance stuff, but I'm really not knocking it too much for that. I don't even think I would, if I had to submit a critique, I don't even think I would really say that as a main thing. I would just, I would accept the package as a whole, and I love, and it's a really great video game. So it's really high up there for we're getting close to the end of the year. I'm going to be ranking some video games, as I always do the past 2 years when this show has been going on. I've been ranking video games at the end of the year, and I'm starting to have unclear which one's going to be number one. A couple of these years have been surefire hits. Splatoon 3, I think, was number one all throughout the year. Last year was Tears of the Kingdom, and this year, we don't know. There's a few games in the mix, and I need to get playing some of these games. So it's a good thing I've been playing some Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and I will be playing some more of that in the upcoming week. What else have I been playing? I downloaded some, I've been watching a little bit of retro gaming people on YouTube, and people picking up retro games or showing off their collection. So it's made me wanting to dive back into some older games. So I just decided I don't really have anything I'm playing on my Xbox, so I downloaded a bunch of older games I already have on my Xbox, and it's pretty much a retro machine in that fact. All these games are pretty old, so I've been playing some Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, which, Tony Hawk is one of my favorite games of all time for sure. I think Tony Hawk 3 is my favorite if I had to pick one and put it on a list, but I've been back playing that. I've been playing through the story campaign with Tony Hawk. It's been really fun. So they eventually updated in that game where you can have completionary stuff for each character or each skater in that game. So there's a lot of good stuff you can do, checklisty stuff in there, and go through the levels. So I think it'd be fun to get back to being able to complete those levels by memory. And I'm already kind of halfway there with muscle memory stuff on there and just learning it again while playing it. But it's a really, really fun game. They definitely hold up. They definitely look really, really great on the new consoles. They got a next-gen upgrade at some point. I think it really does make a big difference. Some of the puddles and the ground stuff look really, really amazing. And Tony Hawk is an amazing game. And I think there's been some talks of another bundle might be coming out, or rumored, or potentially a new Tony Hawk game. So I think it's a big anniversary, maybe 25 or 30 years. So Tony Hawk has been around for a large majority of my lifetime and has been one of the cooler games. I guess N64 was my first console that I had by myself, or my first console that I had. And Tony Hawk was definitely one of the best games that I owned back in the day. So, as I've been watching these retro gaming videos, there's a lot of ways to access these games without having the retro consoles. That's a nice thing about modern day consoles. Even games like talking about N64, Banjo-Kazooie, and GoldenEye, I have those on my Xbox. And if I wanted to play those, hey, there's a way to play some retro games if you want to. So a lot of cool options out there in the world, and it's been fun watching some of those videos and seeing what's going on. It's fun to see. It's just kind of relaxing to see the video game collection and just take a trip down memory lane and maybe get turned on to some new games that you don't know about. So it's been pretty cool. So I've been going down the retro gaming kick for a bit, and I've been playing some stuff on my Xbox from back in the day. So maybe I'll have a little bit more randomness to my gaming in the future, but I always have some randomness to my gaming, and that's been the random gaming of the week. So just general video gaming plans. So I mentioned I played Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, and some Burnout Paradise. So Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom was the main game I played. And my gaming plans for the rest of the year, this has been the year of the RPG on the Dep Lewis Show, a whole year of focusing on the RPG genre and just seeing what I like and feeling it out. And my main RPG I'm playing right now is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So that is a game that I have on my list of main games I'd like to finish. The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom is on that list, and Astrobot. So I have a ton of games in my backlog, some other games that I purchased from this year that I'd like to play more of. But the 3 games I can come up with right now that I really want to make a point to try to finish will be FF7 Rebirth, Echoes of Wisdom, and Astrobot. So I am pretty close on Astrobot. I am not close on Zelda or Final Fantasy, but Zelda I should be able to complete quicker than Final Fantasy. But either way, I need to get back to some of these and start playing them and start getting my thoughts together for the last couple months of the year so I can pick out the game of the year. I don't know if there's too many more games I want to purchase this year. I don't think there's anything definite that I want to purchase. I possibly want to buy the new Budokai Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero. I think I want to play that, and then possibly Call of Duty. But I think those are the only 2 that I really would want to be interested in. And there's a few other games from this year that have come out that I might want to pick up, but if they go on sale or things like that, but nothing too pressing. So I pretty much have all the games that I want to consider, and I need to play some more of them. So that's my plan. So that's what I'll be telling you about here over the next couple of weeks in this first section of the show, what video games I've been playing. So that's all I can think of for my own video gaming thoughts. Hopefully, but I'll probably be playing some more video games in the upcoming week than I did past week. Last week had a lot of good sports stuff going on and other stuff taking up time. So I'll be back to making some progress on some of these games of the year. And I've been playing some handheld stuff too, and that's been really fun. So just shout out to the Nintendo Switch for being a great handheld console and very, very fun, especially as the weather gets a little bit cooler. To sit outside and play some Nintendo is a pretty good combination. So that's everything I've been playing, and that's going to wrap up the intro and the first section of the show. We're going to take a quick break. You're going to hear some music. We're going to come back for the middle section of the show is all the video game news and information, happenings, releases that you need to know. So you don't want to miss the middle section. That is for sure. So listen to this music and come right back after this. Welcome back to the midsection of Dep Lewis Show, episode 97, where I tell you about what's going on around the video game world. So I want to get into some releases, something that is released already and a couple upcoming releases. And these are all around trying to scare you. These are spooky games for the month of October, where Halloween is at the end, for all the ghosts and ghouls and the goblins to come out and do their thing. So I want to tell you about some of these games coming out, if that is up your alley. I don't know. I might be a little too scared to play some of these games, but I want to tell you what's going on with them because I think a lot of people are excited. So this game right here is already released. It's called Until Dawn. It released on October 4th, 2024. The original was 2015. The original developer was Supermassive Games. And in this game, face your fears and determine who survives in this enhanced version of the horror classic. So this is a remake, but it's rebuilt from the ground up for PS5 consoles and PC. Until Dawn invites you to immerse yourself in a gripping slasher horror where every decision can make the difference between life and death. When 8 friends return to the isolated mountain lodge where 2 of their group vanished a year prior, things take a sinister turn. Why? I guess they're going to find their friends, but man, if something bad like that happened, why would you be going back to some isolated mountain lodge again? As fear tightens its icy grip on the group, their remote retreat becomes an inescapable nightmare. Yeah, I believe it. Your actions and choices will determine who survives Until Dawn in this definitive version of this seminal horror classic. So this is a PS5 and PC release, and is available now. So if you want to play some Until Dawn, if that's one of your, if you love the original from 2015, this should be a beefed up, nicer, better version of it, you would think. So Until Dawn, out right now, the new version, the remake, available right now. I didn't see the price on this, but should be available right now. So more spooky games, scary games, horror games. Silent Hill 2. This is coming out. This releases on October 8th, 2024. So in a couple days, if you're listening in real time, this comes out for PS5 and Microsoft Windows, is what I believe. $69.99 US. The developer is Bloober Team, and it is a remake of the 2001 game. So another remake. So it's interesting to me that they're not putting that in the title at all for these. And maybe they're trying to rebrand. Maybe they're just trying to, it's like taking it as a different SKU of the same game kind of thing, or a different version, or a remix. But it's a little bit confusing. That's kind of why I wanted to do this exercise to figure out what's going on with these games. I keep hearing people talking about these games coming out, and I'm trying to figure out where they stand in terms of new or old or remaster or whatever it is. So hopefully this is helping out a little bit. But talking about Silent Hill 2, and this new release on the 8th of October is a remake of the 2001 game of the same name, originally developed by Team Silent, a group within Konami Computer Entertainment Tokyo. And the story around this one is, having received a letter from his deceased wife, man, all right, that's scary. James heads to where they shared so many memories in the hope of seeing her one more time, Silent Hill. There by the lake, he finds a woman eerily similar to her. So that's a pretty good premise. Very scary. Experience a masterclass in psychological survival horror, lauded as the best in the series on the latest hardware with chilling visuals and visceral sounds. So already scaring me there with the word visceral sounds. Larger environments, over-the-shoulder camera, and evolved combat gameplay are some of the things they're touting. So I think with some like the Resident Evil games and even Dead Rising remaster, they are upgrading some things to make them more modern, and that's a huge benefit, I think, with some of these games, of bringing them to life. I think it makes it feel like you felt when you were playing them back in the day, kind of without you noticing the old controls. So I think sometimes that's a pretty cool thing, and definitely a cool thing for new players to not want to have to go back and play some different style of like clunky combat. So Silent Hill 2, I guess that's a remake, is available October 8th, 2024. So all these coming in time for Halloween, ready to scare you. All right, this next game is something that I meant to look up some like lineage or history of this series and see what I would want to play, but I have a little bit of interest in playing this, and this game is called Life is Strange, and it's called Life is Strange Double Exposure, and it releases October 29th, 2024, so a couple weeks away at the end of the month for Xbox, PlayStation, Steam. So it seems like it's running the gamut there on all the platforms. $49.99 US. Don't miss your chance to join the conversation around this unforgettable supernatural murder mystery. Max Caulfield, a photographer in residence at the prestigious Caledon University, discovers his closest friend, Safi, dead in the snow, murdered. To save her, Max tries to rewind time a power she's not used in years. Instead, Max opens the way to a parallel timeline where Safi is still alive and still in danger. Max realizes the killer will soon strike again in both versions of reality. With her new power to shift between two timelines, can Max solve and prevent the same murder? Ordinary girl, extraordinary power. Traverse two timelines, race against time, decide the fate of Caledon, and an exclusive soundtrack. So, talking about the other ones being remakes, this is a new video game, so that is a cool thing. Not really hating on the other ones, but it's nice to get a new video game. And I meant to look up some history on this, but I think Life is Strange has been around for a while. I think they've only had a couple releases, maybe some different like episodic things, and that makes it seem like there's more releases, but it might be like 2 whole packages of video games you can buy before, so I'm not sure, but maybe something I want to look into because it looks very interesting and maybe just kind of artsy enough to make me not scared of the content or of the story that's going on. Some of these other ones with the like Silent Hill 2, where it describes it as chilling visuals and visceral sounds. That's not all the way what I'm going for because I am scared. So those are the 3 spooky games for October, or as they call it, some people call it Spooktober, or whatever word you can say for it, for your ghouls and goblins and monsters and all you pumpkins out there. So those are some scary games for you, and figured out what's going on with them. So that's the scary section. Let's get into some other stuff. Video game news. A video game called Starfield, which is the 2023 action RPG developed by Bethesda and published by Bethesda. It has some DLC that's coming out, that is available now, and that is the Shattered Space DLC. I believe this came out at the end of September 30th, 2024. The DLC is $29.99 US dollars. The base game right now for Starfield is $69.99 US dollars. The expansion, the Shattered Space DLC expansion, is $29.99, or you can buy a complete digital version, which is $100, $99.99 US dollars. That will get you all the content, Starfield base game and the expansion. So no savings there, but they do have the different options of how you can buy it. You can buy it piecemeal or all together. This is available on Xbox Series X and S and Microsoft Windows. And Shattered Space, the story around this is a mysterious power stirs in the city of Dazra. Investigate a frightening cosmic threat, explore a new planet, and find unique weapons, spacesuits, and gear in this all-new adventure. So I was a little bit lukewarm on Starfield. I fell off it pretty early on playing it, and I think the things that I've heard about it, I do have some interest in it still think about time to time going back to it, and I've watched them. I was watching Nextlander play some of this, and I think my take from what I've heard across the internet is this is more, if you don't enjoy base Starfield, the DLC is not really going to change your mind, but it is some additional content. Some people were kind of questioning whether this should have just been in the base game. It might not even be worthy of being called out as a DLC expansion, but I've kind of heard, I guess, lukewarm things about the DLC as well. But I think some of the upgrades they've done to Starfield, I've seen people talking about how the graphics look good and things like that, and it does really look, they capture space really nicely in some areas and some of the interiors and things like that. But I just think as a fun like video game, I think it's missing the mark on some of that. And even watching Vinny and Abby Russell were streaming this game, and they were showing off some of the jank and just some of the dialogue and things like that are just, I don't want to say, I don't know, just not interesting. Just kind of basic and not interesting. So I think some other games have really, really gone above and beyond that kind of stuff at this time. So it's just more glaring. But Starfield Shattered Space DLC is available right now if you want some more Starfield. All right, another game that has been out for a couple years, is Halo Infinite. It came out in 2021, the first-person shooter. If you didn't know, Halo is a first-person shooter. I'm sure you know that. Developed by 343 Industries. That's the Halo Infinite, and published by Xbox Game Studios. Halo Infinite is the 6th mainline game in the Halo series following Halo 5 Guardians, so there's your little background. And I just want to tell you what's coming to the video game. They have announced this past Friday, during a Forge panel at the 2024 Halo World Championships, that third-person mode is coming to this game in November. So in November 2024, Halo Infinite is getting third-person. This is going to be the first time third-person has been offered in a Halo game. You can choose in multiplayer whether you're playing against people in third-person. I guess maybe it's like choosing if you want to play cross-platform, so you can play with first and third mix if you want to. You can play with just first. You can play with just third maybe. It seems like that's how it's going to be on the multiplayer. And it's also unclear if you're going to be able to play third person in campaign or just multiplayer. So it seems to me, and my guess would be it's just multiplayer, but it would be a cool gimmick if they put this in the base game as well, to see what's going on with the third person in Halo Infinite. So this could be a reason to, I don't know, maybe a couple months ago I downloaded Halo Infinite multiplayer to give it a shot again and had some fun, but I just don't know how much down the multiplayer rabbit hole I am these days. But I think this is very interesting, and it could be a cool refresh on the Halo Infinite platform, and it could be another means for them to sell you some cool armor. But I think it's also good to be able to see your character in Halo, because the Spartans and whatever are so cool looking. Their armor's amazing. There's a bunch of different customizations and colors, and this will be a great way to bring those to the forefront. So I think it's a pretty cool move, and very interesting news for the Halo Infinite, getting third person in the game. Coming in November is what they're saying. All right, more video game news. I got a lot of video game news for you this week. Sea of Stars, that's a video game, and it is a 2023 retro-inspired turn-based RPG, and there has been a DLC announced, and it is called The Dawn of Equinox, or Equinox. I guess I'd probably say Equinox. It is free on November 12th, 2024. In this free DLC called Dawn of Equinox, you're getting all new local co-op. So that's pretty cool. A Combat 2.0, a revamped prologue bonus cinematic scene, a speedrunner mode relic, a difficulty presets improved parrot relic, a comprehensive French-Canadian translation, and quality of life improvement. So I think co-op in this game is very cool, because it lends itself very well to that with the way the characters in the party set up. And I have this game on Switch, and I re-downloaded it. I think I maybe played some of it when it first came out, and I fell off the game, as I do with most games. And I'm going to go back to it at some point, because I really have no complaints. It's a really cool world. The music in the game is really, really fun, or really, really great. And the combat's fun, and I want to play some more of this game. So with free DLCs coming, that's a great reason to boot it up again. So I have this re-downloaded on my Switch, and that is Sea of Stars. So a really cool video game, and something I want to play more of. All right, another game that I've never played before, but I would like to play at some point, and that's Gran Turismo 7. They have a new update coming, so I just wanted to mention that. It's update 1.52. It's available right now if you're listening to this podcast. It came out on October 3rd, 2024. There are 3 new cars from the latest Japanese sports cars. 2 commercial cars will join the lineup: a Mitsubishi Lancer, a Nissan GTR Premium, and a Toyota van. An extra menu has been added to the cafe. It's a collection of Audis. I think it's Audi. That's how I normally say it. New World Circuit events will be added: Sunday Cup, Nissan GTR Cup, and Evolution Meeting. New Gran Turismo, I think it's Sophie compatible tracks. The next generation AI racing AI agent, Gran Turismo Sophie, now available for some additional courses. So it's nice to see them maintaining this game. I think there's been a lot of good updates over the course of the history for Gran Turismo 7, and it's something I want to play. I've been a big Forza fan on the Xbox side for most of my racing life. Yeah, I guess I really have. Just because I've never played Gran Turismo. I've really never played it. I generally had a Nintendo or an Xbox, and whenever I had a PlayStation, I guess I had a PlayStation 2 and a PlayStation 3, I just was never, I guess I wasn't into racing games or something, but it seems like a big hole in my gaming history, because I really do enjoy Forza. I enjoy the Horizon series, and I enjoy the regular racing one. So I think Gran Turismo would be right up my alley, and I've seen this game on sale, and it's something I want to pick up at some point. And this is just another reminder to myself and you that Gran Turismo 7 is out there and still being supported and updated. So very cool stuff there. All right. Oh yeah, and they have one more thing. Chicago is now a featured curation in Scapes. So that kind of just looks like they added screenshots or pictures or something. I wasn't really sure, but some more content in Gran Turismo 7. All right, so talking about more content, let's talk about Baldur's Gate 3, which is a 2023 next generation RPG set in the world of Dungeons and Dragons, if you didn't know. And patch 7 is now officially available on PS5 as of October 1st, 2024. So that is the news here, that it's available on PS5. I believe this was available on PC already, so this is old news to PC gamers. But if you're playing this on PS5, which I was doing, you have some new content. So there are 13 new cinematic evil endings, including unique ones for each origin character. Revamped split-screen gameplay offering for couch co-op play. Dynamic split screen means each side of the screen will merge when you are near each other and split back up as you head off in your own adventures. No more arguments over which direction to head in. There's a brand new mod manager, allowing console players to experience a fresh brand of mutable mayhem authored by community members. So I think that's a pretty interesting addition there too. of the mod manager, adding mods onto the console version. So Baldur's Gate 3 was a game of the year from a lot of people last year, and it's cool to see the update. I think I might have read that this is the last giant update for Baldur's Gate 3. I don't know if they have any more content coming to the game that has not been added already, but I'm not sure about that. But Larian Studios had this was a mega hit, so everyone's eyes will be on what they're doing next, and probably in a very positive, excited, hopeful manner. So very cool stuff there for Baldur's Gate 3, and it's something that I should play more of over my video gaming life. All right, some more video game news. This one, we've talked about this game recently, but Palworld, this game recently came to PlayStation 5. It was on Xbox and PC earlier in the year, and it's now on PS5. They're also being sued by Nintendo for, I think it's copyright infringement, but some type of major lawsuit. But Palworld is an action-adventure, survival, and monster taming game. Developer Pocket Pair has signed a deal with the PUBG company Krafton to develop a mobile version. So that is news here. Palworld is getting a mobile version, and Pocket Pair, the developer of Palworld, and Krafton are teaming up to make this come to fruition. We talked about Krafton recently with them acquiring the Hi-Fi Rush developer Tango Gameworks. Krafton now has inked a licensing agreement with Pocket Pair to expand Palworld intellectual property to mobile devices. So licensing their game out for a certain amount of time for a certain amount of money. That is a great thing for the Palworld Pocket Pair developers, getting that money and hopefully getting more exposure for their video game. Krafton's subsidiary PUBG Studios will develop the mobile version of Palworld, which reimagines and adapts the core gameplay elements for mobile, and no release window has been given yet. So in the midst of getting sued by Nintendo, Palworld is growing and trying to expand their reach across the video game universe. So Palworld is coming to mobile, so if you are a mobile gamer, which I am not at this point in time, be excited for that. If you're a mobile gamer, go play some Balatro. That game is out on mobile. I hear they did some great things to adapt the UI for mobile and make it work really seamlessly, so go play some Balatro on mobile. I have not played it, but I love some Balatro, and that is definitely a game going to be in contention for Game of the Year on the Dep Lewis Show for 2024. All right, some more video game news. What else I got for you? Let's see here. Yeah, we got some more stories here. So Nintendo Switch Online. There are 2 new games being added to the Game Boy Advance section, which was taking place on October 11th, 2024. The Game Boy Advance section requires expansion pack tier access. So that is the $50 a year subscription instead of the $20 a year one. So, but if you are a subscriber to the expansion pack tier or would like to, you will be able to play F-Zero GP Legend and F-Zero Climax. So 2 F-Zero games from the Game Boy Advance. F-Zero GP Legend, they say get your adrenaline pumping and race plasma-powered machines against the galaxy's most elite racers. Strive for victory at all costs, even if it means ramming your opponent off the track. This game first released November 28th, 2003, so many, many moons ago. And then F-Zero Climax is a sci-fi racing game only released in Japan previously. So everyone over here in the United States of America can rejoice they can play this game for the first time. The original release was October 21st, 2004, so they really like releasing around the fall season here, full of game modes designed to test your racing skills at the highest level. So I had a F-Zero game on the N64 that I really liked and enjoyed, but I think that's only been the main one I've ever gotten into, and I really didn't. That was an amazing game, and I'd like to play some more. So as I journey into some more retro gaming things, I think F-Zero could be a cool one to check out, and I think it is almost time for me to subscribe to the expansion pack tier on Nintendo Switch Online, because there are a lot of great, if you're wanting to play some retro games, I mean, there's a huge catalog of retro games right there. You don't own them, but you could license them and play them for a month or a year at a time. So Nintendo Switch Online getting some new F-Zero games October 11th, 2024. All right, what else is going on? The PlayStation 5 Pro is something that's coming out. It releases in a month and a day. November 7th, 2024. November 7th. The PlayStation Direct has early pre-order access currently still available, so I wanted to point that out. I think most other retailers, like Best Buy already has them all pre-ordered, but you can go to PlayStation Direct and pre-order one right now. I checked just the other day. $699.99 for a PS5 Pro. It has 2 terabytes of storage and all the upgrades that they've been touting. I don't know how necessary of an upgrade this is. It seems like a pretty niche thing, But, I just want to tell you what's going on in the video game world. So that is still available right now if you want to go check that out. It releases on November 7th, 2024. PlayStation 5 Pro console, the 30th anniversary limited edition bundle was $999.99 and currently unavailable. And I would just like to plead to Sony or PlayStation, if you'd like to send a PlayStation 5 Pro to just a great, wonderful podcaster, Dep Lewis Show, I would gladly appreciate it and talk about it on the show. I'm sure I would like it, and I'm sure I would enjoy it. And it can be some free promotion, which I know you just need just desperately out here. I know you need all the Dep Lewis Show listeners, to hear the great content. So send me a PlayStation 5 Pro, please, Sony. That would be nice. And you could also send me something from the upcoming PS5 Chroma collection, where we're getting 3 new color options available for pre-order right now through PlayStation Direct as well, and Amazon, I think they said, had them as well, and more retailers soon, allegedly. So the new colors here are teal, pearl, and indigo, $79.99 each, US dollars, and that includes the recent under-the-radar $5 price increase for PS5 controllers, so that is something to be known out there in the world. PS5 controllers are more expensive now than they were before. The Pearl and Indigo controllers release in November 7th, same day as the Pro, November 7th, 2024, and the Teal DualSense won't ship until January 23rd, 2025, so they're making you wait for it. But they've had similar rollouts to this before, so I guess PlayStation early adopters are used to this, but very cool looking stuff. I don't know how necessary any of it is. I would like to have a PlayStation Pro if I just had, unlimited sums of money, or if Sony would like to send one to a video game podcaster. Sony, I know you're listening. I know you're listening out there. Get in contact with me, DepLewisShow@gmail.com. I would love to have one. All right, it's more video game news. I'm gonna keep begging a little more often on this show, and asking for things because hey, I talk about them. Send me one. Send me one. I'm a great podcaster. I'll enjoy it. I'll talk nicely about it, I'm sure, because video games are fun. Send me one. Send me some stuff, guys. All right, that's enough begging. FromSoftware, there's some news there. This is some positive news out here in the world that you're not expecting to hear. You might think, hey, I'm talking about a video game developer, probably talking about some layoffs. But no, I'm not. FromSoftware is doing some great things. And FromSoftware is the Japanese video game development and publishing company founded in 1986. So I guess that's almost 50 years, right at it. And they have announced a salary increase for its employees, approximately 11.8%, so almost 12% salary increase for its employees. Can you believe that? And the increase will begin in April of 2025. Along with this increase for current employees, they are also raising the starting salary for new graduates by 15%. So helping out the new grads even more. FromSoftware, the Kingsfield was their first game on PlayStation in 1994. They've had a bunch of recent, success. Our Armored Core has been around for a while, but they've had Demon Souls, you know them for that. Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, and Elden Ring. I mean, what a very prolific video game studio, and they're passing some of that success on to their employees, which is, I think this, should be the model of how things work out there in the world. And so that's definitely why I want to highlight this, and shout out to FromSoftware for doing this. Employees getting a 12% raise out of thin air is no joke, and congratulations to them, and congratulations to FromSoftware for putting out some great video games, and hopefully being an example of a great video game studio for other people to emulate. So let's see some salary increases across the board out there for other companies and other sectors of business as well. Let's see some salary increases. That would be nice. So way to go, FromSoftware. All right, the last bit I want to talk about here is some rumors. So Ubisoft. There's some rumors or some speculation that Tencent Holdings and I don't know how to say these, it's the Guillemot brothers. I'm not really even going to, the Guillemot, maybe the Guillemot brothers. I'm going to say it once just to try to get it in there so you can try to know what I'm talking about. But it seems like these two entities, Tencent and the brothers, or the family, own a portion of Ubisoft already. So Tencent might own around 9%. The brothers might own around 20%. I think they're the founders or the co-founders or the founding group of Ubisoft. So they've sold it to some other entities over the course of the years. But it's seeming like there's going to be a potential buyout here between Tencent and the brothers of the family. And they're considering a potential buyout of the French video game developer. So Ubisoft has lost more than half its market value this year, allegedly. And Tencent and the brothers are aiming to stabilize Ubisoft and bolster its value. So they are thinking about also possibly taking the company private. That's another rumor out there of this takeover, or I guess it's like almost like a buyout was to occur. And after this news and speculation and reports came out, Ubisoft shares rose as much as 33% in Paris on Friday following the news. So this has been the steepest gain the company has seen since the initial 1996 public offering. So the investors are liking the way this is going. And the news, I guess they're wanting they're wanting less cooks in the kitchen, maybe get some of the original cooks back more prominently in the kitchen, and Tencent Holdings, which definitely has a lot of holdings in cash and money, could come in and back the original founder a little more. So could be a good thing for the direction of Ubisoft. Just definitely seeming like a big shakeup going on around there. So just something to keep our eyes on here in the video game world. And, you can just tune into the Dep Lewis Show every week, and I will keep you updated with everything that you need to know. So that's what's going on with Ubisoft, and that is just rumors and speculation. But if anything becomes official, I'll definitely tell you about it. So, that's going to wrap up all the news and information that I have for you across the video game world this week. I think I'm going to quit. I don't know. We talked about a lot of things. We talked about upcoming releases for the month of October. If you want to be scared, Until Dawn and Silent Hill 2 have some remaster remakes. Life is Strange Double Exposure comes out closer to the end of the month. We talked about Starfield Shattered Space DLC out now. Halo Infinite has third-person mode coming in November. Sea of Stars has some free DLC coming out in November. Gran Turismo 7 has a free update available right now. Baldur's Gate 3 has a patch 7 available right now on PlayStation 5. And that was already out on PC before, but now available on PlayStation. Palworld is coming to mobile at some point. Nintendo Switch Online is getting 2 new F-Zero games October 11th. PS5 Pros are available for pre-order right now on PlayStation Direct and maybe some other retailers, along with the PS5 Chroma collection. FromSoftware is giving their employees a 12% salary increase in April. And Ubisoft is rumored to be bought out by Tencent, who currently is an owner, and the Guillemette brothers, or the family, who are currently owners as well. They might be trying to drop some more cash to own the entire company. So that is all the video game news and information I have for you this week. Thank you for listening, and please come back next week for more video game news as always. I'll be getting together all the news and stories of the week and bringing them to you here on the Dep Lewis Show as I always do. So thank you for listening to this mid-section, and please come back for the Miscellaneous Talk section after this music. Welcome back to the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 97, the Miscellaneous Talk section, where I can talk about anything I want to outside the video game world. So I want to get into the worldwide world of sports and tell you what's going on with all my favorite teams. And we're going to start with the Carolina Panthers in the NFL. And the Carolina Panthers are just a couple hours away from playing the Chicago Bears up there in Chicago. So that's what I'm going to be watching after I get this podcast out. So I think the Panthers could possibly get a win today. I don't think it's likely. I think some of the hype from the Andy Dalton win has worn off on the Panthers. I think a little bit of reality is set back into the fan base and the Panthers community in general, but that's being a little bit negative. But it would be nice to see a win today, and I think it's possible. But I'm trying to still have some waiting on bated breath on the Panthers season and how it's going to go. Last week they lost to the Bengals, and this was in Charlotte. The Panthers lost 24-34. The Panthers are now 1-3. So that's going before this Bears game that's about to happen. But, Andy Dalton did play better. The offense was making some moves, which was nice to see. The defense the defense, I guess the defense has gotten a little bit better. I got to give them some credit there too. But Andy Dalton was 25 for 40, 220 yards, 2 touchdown passes and a pick. No sacks, which that's really nice to report here. Chuba had 18 carries for 104 yards and a touchdown. So he's been definite highlight for the Panthers this year. He also had 4 catches for 17 yards. Deontay, who's really been getting into a groove, had 7 catches for 83 yards, a long of 39, and had 13 total targets. So they keep feeding the beast there with Deontay Johnson, which has been pretty awesome. Xavier Woods had 10 total tackles and also a pick, and then JC had 8. So some of the defensive guys in the secondary getting after it. And the Panthers they're at least being more enjoyable to watch and more competitive. So that's been fun to see. And I would like to see them get a win. So that is kind of my thought. At this point, I don't want them. I don't know if I don't have hopes on them winning the Super Bowl or even really winning the division. But I would like to see them get some more wins and possibly be in the conversation for the division. But Tampa Bay's been everybody else in the division's been pretty good. We had not Matt Ryan, but it was Matt Ryan night the other day in Atlanta. But Kirk Cousins threw for over 500 yards. So pretty crazy stuff there going on in the division. And it seems like the division is actually not a cakewalk. So some tough times for the Panthers, but a little bit more hope recently. But the guys on both sides of the ball and special teams need to get it together and get a win today against the Bears would be my hope. And the next week, the Panthers are at home against the Falcons on October 13th. That game is in the afternoon, so that is next weekend. I might possibly be going to that game if I can find a inexpensive ticket, and if I just feel like going over there to see what's going on with the Panthers. That might be what's going on. So just something to consider for next week. I could be podcasting and then going to a football game, so that's a pretty good plan to have. So that's what's going on with the Panthers. Hopefully get a win today. Hopefully my fantasy football team will get a win today. The Jets are playing early this morning already right now while this podcast is going on, and I think they were losing. So I can't really remember who I think they're playing Minnesota. So Minnesota has been having a really good start early to the season. I got Jefferson in fantasy. Hopefully he's scoring some points, and that is what's going on with the football. So in the basketball world, nothing really going on there yet besides the preseason has started. So we'll be getting some more basketball talk on the podcast when the season starts. And I'm talking about the Charlotte Hornets, which I'm a halfway fan of just because I live in North Carolina. Their season starts at Houston, October 23rd, 2024. And then my favorite basketball team in the university, Atlanta Hawks, the first game of their season is versus Brooklyn in Atlanta on that same day, October 23rd, 2024. So getting ready to watch all the games of Ice Trae and crew. And hopefully the Hawks are going to have a better season this year. And kind of like I do with the Panthers and the next team we're going to talk about, you're going to be getting weekly updates on what's been going on with the Hawks and their season. And I'm excited to get back to having a daily grind with the sports, since the next thing I'm going to report to you are the Atlanta Braves are no longer playing this year. They have been booted from the postseason. They have gone fishing. They're into off-season mode. Time to start worrying about free agents and all that kind of stuff. But, so Atlanta Braves season is over. They lost to the Padres in the playoffs, in the wild card. They lost the first 2 games in the 3-game series and have been sent home. So a pretty crazy end to the year. Definitely congratulations on the Braves and getting into the playoffs. I think they overachieved there with their season and everything they were tasked with injuries, and mainly just injuries and bad luck and things like that, and weather and rain delays and all sorts of crazy stuff this year. But since I've last talked to you, the Braves played last Sunday. The Royals were at the Braves. The Braves lost 2-4. And then the Braves that was win and get in. So the Braves did not win that day, and they had to go play the doubleheader in Atlanta versus the Mets on Monday. And the scenario was the Mets and the Braves each needed to win a game, and they would both get in the playoffs. If there was a sweep to happen, the team that got swept would not make the playoffs, and the D-backs would get into the playoffs. So it happened. The Mets won the first game. It was the Braves lost the first game 7-8 in that doubleheader, so the Mets go to the playoffs. But the Braves won the second game 3-0. The Braves go to the playoffs. Pretty awesome. I think it was one of the highlights of the year was watching the celebrations after that and seeing the team be so happy to get into the playoffs and have a chance to go dancing. And there's definitely some renewed hope. But they had to go the next day. So they played a doubleheader, had to get on the plane to San Diego and play the wild card game. I think it started at like 5:30 in the afternoon or something like that. And the Braves lost 0-4. So it came out pretty flat. And then they play the next day against the Padres as well and lose to the Padres 4-5. Money Mike hit a late homer, a 2-run homer to get it up to 4 runs, and they made an effort, but the season was over and the Padres are seemingly pretty hot. So, on to next year. Go Braves. Definitely my favorite sports team to watch. Definitely my favorite sport. So just had a great time watching all 162, getting to see a couple playoff games, and had a really great time sports betting this year. That's the first time I've been able to do that. And looking forward to it again next year. So I've been watching some of the playoff stuff a little bit here and there. It's kind of a little bit of the aftershock of them losing just kind of sucks and just kind of become disinterested for some days. But been catching a few of the games here and there, throwing a few bets out there. But I think I'm going to hold off on the betting until the basketball season starts, and I like having the full slate of games during the regular season to choose from and try to make a bet on, and that is really fun to do. So that is my thoughts on the betting world. But the Braves are now in off-season mode. Brian Snitker said he's coming back, and they expect to return the entire coaching staff for next year. We have the Max Fried free agency question to begin. I really don't think they're going to sign him, but I think I'm going to start talking about on this podcast week to week like I used to do with the Brian Burns situation. I want the Panthers to pay Max Fried. And I know he's had some blunders. He didn't have a great appearance in the wild card, but as we can see with some of these pitchers like Chris Sale and Charlie Morton. We have two examples on the Braves right now that pitchers can go for a long time. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Max Fried has put in way more good efforts than he has poor efforts for the Braves. And I think you want him to continue to do that over a long period of time. And he is right in the midst of his prime right now. He's been an excellent, outstanding, amazing Brave. And you got to pay somebody, and pay Max Fried. We're going to be probably losing Charlie Morton to retirement. I think they need to pay Chris Sale for another year would be a great idea. And then we have questions about Ozuna. I think Aaron Bummer and then Travis d'Arnaud all have options for next year. So I definitely think they need to pick up the Ozuna option. And I definitely think they need to pick up the Travis option, unless they really want to try to save some money and just have Sean Murphy be kind of our everyday catcher and try to get a cheaper option, which could be a smart way to save $8 million. But Travis is definitely seemingly a great clubhouse guy and definitely a great performer, and he's a clutch performer as well. So I think just a good person to have around your ball club regardless. But there are money considerations there, and the Braves have a shortstop search maybe. Orlando Arcia is playing some great defense out there. His bat really just hasn't been up to par, and I think that could be a good, probably a good goal to try to achieve. Get some power, get some hits out of our shortstop. I kind of think those are kind of the main topics for the Braves over the course of the offseason. But it's nice they have their core really locked down, and I think I just want to start banging the Max Fried drum. Alex Anthopoulos came out and said, "Hey, yeah, we want to have Max back." But he said, all the other teams in the MLB would like to have Max as well, so we have to kind of let him go do his thing. And it is a bad sign. They weren't able to get the deal done during the season or during the negotiating period, or get it done before he talks to other teams. So I believe it's like 5 days after the World Series he can start talking with whoever he wants to. And I just wish the Braves would get the deal done. Drop off the bag of money on his porch, on his deck, or on his wherever you want to drop it off to, but I just don't know. Alex Anthopoulos also mentioned they've been in tax considerations, paying the tax for the last couple of years. And maybe they're trying to get out of that, but I don't know. I'll be interested to see what they do in the offseason. I'm definitely not trying to get my hopes up, because as I get older, as an older person, you realize how these things go a lot of times, that they're not going to just always pay your favorite player. They're going to sometimes trade away your favorite player, and this is kind of a ruthless business out here. But as a fan, I'm still going to bang the drum for what I'd like and what I think the kind of the heartbeat and the feel of the people is and the team. And I think you need to pay Max Fried. So, give Max Fried the big payday. And I'll go buy his jersey on the day that happens, because I've been wanting to buy a Max Fried jersey for a while now, and it's been this little bit of a song and dance of what's going to happen to his contract. Are they going to possibly trade him the last couple of years, or are they going to be able to re-sign him? And I would like to have some assurance there for my Max Fried Atlanta Braves fandom. But, go Braves. It was a great season. I have fun watching it regardless, and I will be looking forward to the spring where I can watch some more Braves baseball. But for now, I'm looking forward to the Panthers later today and the start of the Hawks season in a couple weeks. So, not all is bad. It's always darkest before the dawn is what they say. So, I'm going to bring on hopefully a fun, exciting Hawks season and something I can watch day to day. And I think I'm going to get into the fantasy basketball for this year too, because I've already been missing fantasy baseball. It's something you can check every day and strategize over, and something to have fun with. And I've already been missing that as well on top of the Braves. So, I'm just in baseball grieving morning season, but I think I'm on the upswing from that. So, just shout out to all the other teams that have been kicked out of the playoffs. And, we got baseball coming again. There's other sports going on. So there's video games. There's all sorts of great things to do out there in the world. So, just shout out to sports. I get so much enjoyment from them. And just shout out especially the Atlanta Braves for another season of just tons and tons and tons of enjoyment watching. And I will miss watching it until next year. All right, so that's going to wrap up the sports section and the miscellaneous talk section of the show. We talked about the Panthers. We talked about the Hornets, the Hawks, and the Braves. The Panthers play later today. And next week, I'll be having a podcast and possibly going to the game after. So hopefully I have some good stuff to report to you next week. And just thank you for being a listener. So I want to reiterate some promotional talk from the beginning. Please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. So find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. If you'd like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/DepLewisShow is available if you'd like to subscribe monthly. And then also Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you'd like to support the show. So just thank you so much for listening. Thank you for all that you do out there in the world. Thank you for interacting with any of my content, for listening for any amount. And I just hope you enjoy it. So I hope you have a great week out there in the world. I hope you get to play some video games. I hope you get to watch some sports. I hope some of your teams win. I I hope the playoff baseball will be exciting and be fun. I'm going to start probably trying to watch some of that after being sad about the Braves losing, and play some video games, play some Zelda, play some Final Fantasy, play some Astrobot. I need to complete Astrobot, and maybe I'll be telling you about that next week. So just thank you for being a listener. I'll be back next week for another episode of Dep Lewis Show, and I will talk to you then.